Hey, welcome to Copy Chief Radio. Today's show is a Coffee with Kev episode where you and I have a quick chat, just like we were sitting together in the coffee shop. And my goal is to help you solve one specific problem and find new inspiration for taking your copywriting and your business to the next level. To check out all the Copy Chief Radio episode types, go to copychief.com/CCR. Howdy, it's Kev. This is a Coffee with Kev episode, but I'm gonna tell you, this is actually a Cocktail with Kev episode. Maybe we should have a new series. It's evening here in St. Pete, Florida, and I'm halfway through an old-fashioned that I made at home using Woodford Reserve bourbon. That's how you know when you've potentially had too many old-fashions, when you can't say Woodford without slurring. Woodford. They don't sponsor the show yet, but it's my bourbon of choice. There's a great documentary on bourbon called Neat. I think it's on the Netflix or the Hulus or somewhere. Really intriguing history of this particular spirit. You probably know if you partake, and if you don't, please just have a tea and join us. All is accepted. But bourbon, here's what makes it bourbon. There's a few rules. You can't just go calling things bourbon. It's the ABCs. Number one, it has to be made in America to be a bourbon. Not in Kentucky, just somewhere in the lower 48. I guess you could make it in Alaska. I don't think your stuff's going to grow there like you need it to, though. Or Puerto Rico. But ABCs, so you've got made in America. B is a burnt barrel. A charred barrel has to be made aged in a charred barrel. And the C, of course, is corn. Corn has to be 51% of the mix as your grain to make the bourbon official. And they're really stringent about it. They don't play games with the bourbon. So if you partake, join me in a glass and let's have a chat. Today I want to talk about something I'm really excited about, what we're doing in Copy Chief. I recently partnered with Grant Cardone Enterprises to supply them to be their sole recruiting hub for copywriters. How cool is that? So as you may know, Grant Cardone is by far the biggest name in real estate investing, and he's done incredibly well with his digital products, teaching people how to make money in real estate, how to improve their business. His wife has a great series of trainings empowering women in business, Elena Cardone. Also, they have a cool new thing that's all about entrepreneurship. I think they call it the $1 million employee. And that's kind of cool. It's about how to make a lot of money just by being aligned, an employee of a great corporation that really wants to reward you for your talents, which in a lot of ways is much easier to excel in than having to start your own business and handle everything, being responsible for everything, every moving part. And so I want to point something out early on here, and I want to be really honest about something, and that is, until recently, I was not a big fan of Grant Cardone. And I don't say that as any affront to him, but, from afar, I just saw the videos of him, like a lot of things. I saw the surface of what was going on there. I saw the videos of him on his private jets ranting about 10Xing everything in sight. Is a kind of a hollow gimmick, right? We've seen this before in our industry a ton. And, you tend to categorize things that look like other things. And I assumed without looking closer at all, admittedly, that his cause and his culture just wasn't for me, not my thing. And I know others who felt the same way. But I also know people, including members of my own family, who are rabid fans of Grant Cardone and have done very well with his teachings. So based on that, I didn't question the legitimacy of his products. I just didn't dig his style. But when Russ Reynolds, their new copy chief, who is a really smart dude, a guy I've coached, for several years and known about and followed and seen Russ do a lot of cool things and help his clients make a lot of money with their campaigns. When Russ came to me about helping him recruit copywriters to fill his teams over there at Cardone, I had a lot of questions. I wanted to know how they'd been treating Russ. And he told me that it's the best I've ever been treated by a client, which was great to hear because I know that Russ isn't an easy to please guy. I wanted to know what kind of system they had in place to nurture and, support their copywriters. What he told me was this company is all about helping everyone here to grow in both their skill development and personal wealth, which I thought was really cool because I think the best companies have that mindset, right? We look, as a business owner, you have to know your hope is to hire somebody great and keep them happy for a long, long time. But reality is, if we're talking to other entrepreneurial minded people, they're going to want to have new ventures and take advantage of opportunities. The goal is to be their best opportunity. And that way you can win majority of their time and attention to help you build your company. And that's something I've learned the hard way, by the way, in my relatively very small business compared to what Cardone's doing, obviously. But, we have a team of 10 or 12 people now, and we've got probably an equal amount of people that have been in and replaced in the time that we've been building this team. In the beginning, I was very much focused on the idea that, it's relationships, and if I just make sure that they feel heard and they're doing work that they enjoy, that they will feel embraced by the culture I've created and see the big picture, long-term vision. That should be the goal. But what you figure out at some point is that you just can't. There's so many factors playing a role in people's decisions and their motivations and their restlessness that you can only be the best version of a slice of what's important to them, right? And hopefully those things align, like I said, and things last a long time, but sometimes they don't. You have to just iterate like we do with everything, like we do with our marketing, find out what's working and try to make it better. And so you cannot, if you're a business owner and you're hearing me right now and you're trying to create systems or mindsets, you're trying to persuade people to be eternally loyal to you. Again, that's a good goal, but you have to also accept that people are people. And at the end of the day, respect their individual needs and accept that those needs may not include you at some point and be okay with that. And things go much better when you do. So I was thrilled to hear that a lot of the people in Cardone Enterprises have been there a long time and are very enthusiastic to be there. But, I heard Grant say a really interesting thing, and I'll get into where I heard him say this in a minute, that everybody was gloating about his team and how incredible they were and how did he build such a great team. And I think he said we have 230 people working in our organization right now. He said, guess what you didn't see up here today? Because they had let us watch a team meeting. It was very impressive and everybody was very enthusiastic. He said, what you don't see up here is the 400 ghosts of people who aren't here anymore. Like, wow, right? A good 400 people that have been in and out. And again, that they've learned from and iterated every time to get a team like they have now and know how to treat them and what they need and how to coach them and raise them up so that they're content and excited to work with you. Again, you may only get them for a snatch of time, but if everybody parts ways eventually feeling better for the experience, like that is the victory, right? So I had, a lot of questions for Russ, and I wanted to know what's most important to me. Number one, how do they treat people in general? over there. And I wanted to know what kind of system they had in place to nurture and support their copywriters. And he told me this company, like I said, is all about helping people. I wanted to know what he knew about how things were before he got there. Because there were whispers that some copywriters had left there with a bad taste. And I asked Russ about that directly. Had he heard these things? He said that's why they put Jared, the president of Cardone Enterprises, in charge of building out this new department. And I'd heard already great things about Jared Gant, who is their president, the number 2 man in the company. That gave me a lot of faith, because if they're putting enough value on building great copy teams to place it directly into the hands of the number 2 guy in the company, that's a really good sign. And then last week, I was invited to attend a private gathering of industry influencers where Grant, Jared, and a guy named Pete Vargas, who invited me to the event, who's another really good guy and now partner over there at GCE. They sort of peeled back the curtain on the entire Cardone machine. And it was really impressive, right? I wasn't able to attend in person, which I sort of now regret. I should have just found a way to be in the room. But I was able to attend virtually. And like I said, watching how their team runs daily morning meetings was real proof of Russ's take on how personally empowering their team members is the major driving force over there. And then hearing Grant speak very open and honestly for like 90 minutes really shifted my perception, because again, this is not him in front of a stage of ticket holders. He's not there to pitch anything. He literally just invited, 70 plus people in the industry who had done impressive things to come and meet him and his team and understand what they're doing. Sure, I'm sure they want to form affiliate partnerships out of that and things like that. But as somebody, there's a rumor, I don't know if this is true, that they spent $1 million throwing this event. They rented out a yacht, like this huge yacht, and threw this big party and, incredible meals for everybody. And it's what $1 billion companies, can do. But the thing that impressed me, aside of all that, was learning and hearing directly from Grant Cardone himself. He was just very real. And he talked a lot about his perception and how he shows up online and the way he's marketed himself and his offers. And that's kind of a show. He believes that everything should be big and presented in a big way, and you should go to extremes to demonstrate the value you can provide. And he's a showman. But, in this setting, he put that aside and he was just the guy talking, telling it how it is. Again, I was watching virtually, and I was compelled several times to pull out my cell phone and record the screen because he was saying stuff that was really profound and stuff I wanted to remember and share with my team. And I've got 10 different videos of moments I captured. I can't share those with you, obviously, for privacy reasons, but a few things that stood out to me and were kind of eye-opening. Number one, I didn't know that Grant Cardone's father died when he was 10 years old. And by the age of 12, he was using drugs pretty heavily. And this is something he's talked about and written about publicly. You can search Grant Cardone, drug addiction or something, and find several interviews on YouTube of him discussing this. So I'm not speaking out of school here, but that sent him on a decade-long battle with addiction. And then his mother finally kicked him out of the house because she'd had enough. Finally, his own mother, who loved him and never expected him to have these challenges, booted him. And when she did that, he checked himself into a treatment facility and he kicked drugs. And on the way out of that facility, he told a story about there was a guy there, and he said to him, "You'll be back here." And he's like, "What do you mean I'll be back here? I'm starting a new life." And the guy's like, "Nah, you have too many big ideas about writing books and building businesses." He's like, I know your type. You'll be back here." And so he said, when you see me pushing hard and, we talking about big things, he said, it's because I was terrified. I was scared at that time. And so that was my response to being terrified of ever going back to treatment or going back to that life. He talks about, when he left that treatment facility, he had 3 friends in the world. One was his equally drug addicted girlfriend, and the other one was a drug dealer. And he just had nothing and nobody and had to start completely from scratch. But he had these big ideas. He just said he used to always tell his mother when he was young, someday I'm going to be a big deal. Someday I'm going to be a big deal. And that was his why. That was his driving force. He just wanted to prove and to verify that voice inside of him that said, you're more than this. 10 years of doing that all wrong and using drugs and trying to quiet that voice essentially and prove to it that it was wrong, that you weren't ever going to be a big deal. And then I think when that guy said that to him, that became his why. He's like, I'll do anything it takes to prove that you're wrong and to prove that I was right when I was young and I had sort of a vision for what my life could be. And since then, I don't know how long it's been since then, probably, 20 years or so, he has built $1 billion personal net worth, $1 billion personal net worth. He owns $3.5 billion in real estate assets, and he's earned $150 million with his digital courses and live events. And again, just imagine what having a real copy team will do to that number. He's never really had good copy and all that. It's just been push, 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 push. This blew my mind. He sold out a stadium event with 34,000 ticketed attendees. Get this, during Super Bowl weekend. And he said, I did it just to prove I could because no sane event organizer would ever hold an event during Super Bowl weekend, let alone rent out Florida Marlins Stadium in Miami, and with a goal to sell 35,000 tickets. He sold 34,000 tickets. They had people from every state in the U.S. and 53 other states in attendance to that event. And the thing that came through for me, again, hearing him talk in a very real, raw way, was that, man, this cat really does apply this 10X rule to everything, right? Including that stadium event, right? Like he said, he's like, I don't know how we do a 340,000 person event, but he talked about the challenges of event like that would have. He said, first of all, there's no stadium that could hold them, so we'd need a giant space, but it has to be the right space. He said, I can't have Woodstock and try to, total chaos and try to teach people something over 3 days. There's no way to park 340,000 people. And of course, his goal from there would be go to 3.4 million people. How do you get 3 million people into one event? But the takeaway for me was that making that the next goal forces him to find out what it would take to pull it off, right? Just the mind expansion on a proposition like that. So just think, if we all applied that thinking to everything we do, right? Okay, I landed 5 clients. What will it take to get the next 50? We sold 30 seats to this coaching program. How do we do 300 next time? Then 3,000, then 30,000, right? Every goal, when you 10X it, creates new variables and problems for you to solve. But if you're not thinking bigger, then you're not realizing that things are possible, that they can be done. I think we have a tendency to accept pretty good as good enough. And why should it be? Why should any of us settle for pretty good or good enough? It's no way to grow, because then you're just keeping status quo, and any little market condition that changes or shifts, you lose a marketing channel or whatever circumstance beyond your control. And now suddenly what was good enough is gone. And what do you have then, right? So that idea that dreaming big and then going about learning how it could be done, there's no way that if we do that, that we won't exceed our current reality. That was an inspiring takeaway for me from hearing him talk. And he talked about the process. He's like, there's only 3 essential questions that you need to answer when you're looking at 10x a result. Can it be done? Is there someone doing it now, right? That proves the model. And then what will it take for us to do it even better? 3 simple questions. Is it possible? Is it being done? How do we do it better? Pretty awesome. So look, man, did I come away from that day and listening to him talk and feeling like me and Grant are going to have a blast hanging out together? Not necessarily, right? We're different people. And I got to tell you, he didn't mention music like even once. So I'm like, this guy might not like music. I'm pretty much out on anybody who doesn't, but he may love music. I don't know what he's into. I tell you what, I felt my mind frame expanding in real time as I was listening to him talk. Just about his business, being really real, really raw. This is who this guy is. And that was impressive. You don't get that too often. But I tell you what, I'm very proud to have their team's trust as they've earned mine to create potentially life-changing opportunities for copywriters. Like I said, we're the sole recruiting hub now for helping them build their copy teams. That means we can take somebody who's just learning about copywriting, train them on how to get good at it, and introduce them to a job like this where they're making $80,000+ a year to become part of the most profitable marketing machine in our industry right now. And that, to me, that warms my heart. And that's what Copy Chief is all about. An opportunity to learn how to be a better marketer and copywriter directly from the person looking to pay you to put those lessons into practice. That is rare. That is rare. In most industries, people spend years of their lives and hundreds of thousands of dollars just hoping to land a job like the ones we're offering here in Copy Chief and with the kinds of companies we partner with. We're doing not only with Cardone, but with Agora, Arms, Banyan Hill, Danny Eney's company, Miracy. They all come to us first and sometimes only when they want copywriters because they know we have the 8-year track record of attracting, training, and placing quality people at companies like theirs. And that's something I never dreamed about when I opened Copy Chief in 2014. I'm very grateful for that. And so to my members, it's here because of you, so please take full advantage of it. This is all about you learning and taking advantage of these opportunities. I want to create the one environment in this industry where somebody can come in new to this or experienced in this and share what they need to learn from people who are already succeeding, who have been in their shoes, and go immediately put what they learn into action, money in their bank account. And if you can get paid to learn, again, that is the ultimate win. And there's not a lot of industries where that's an option. And I'm just so thankful that I found one that's like that, because that's how I used it. I got paid to learn in this industry. I got paid well to learn. So if we're willing to learn and we're hungry to learn and we're smart about applying our lessons, there's no way we can't succeed. So that's it. If you're not a member of Copy Chief, please join us. This is only the beginning of the kinds of relationships I'm looking to create with companies like Grant Cardone Enterprises and Agora Publishing and Banyan Hill, and companies, forward-thinking companies who want to nurture copywriting talent and pay them well for what they develop into. It's an amazing opportunity. So copychief.com/join is where you become a member and get in the mix. So that's it. I hope you got some valuable lessons from this. This has been a great learning experience for me. I'm very inspired about it, and you're going to hear about a lot more of these opportunities in the near future. So Stay tuned, and thanks for listening. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Hey, don't forget your goodies. Head over to copychief.com/copychiefradio to get some great free stuff to help you put the things you hear on the show into action for your business. copychief.com/CCR.